Diving into Bloodborne may seem like an overwhelming task only fit for the gods, but my dear gamer, the gods are nothing in comparison to you. Bloodborne's story and lore and mythos and history that is entangled within it is a separate video all on its own. So for today, I'm going to be focusing on the need to know things only: consumables, enemies, weapons, etc. Let's go back to the beginning of Bloodborne, when you first heard the cleric beast shriek and thought to yourself, oh shit, what did I get myself into? Today we're going to go from oh shit to I got this. Now, besides Demon Souls, Bloodborne is one of the more linear style games that From Software has in their toolbox, so getting around isn't too cumbersome. Right out of the character creation, you will be in Losefka's clinic and will encounter a beast after walking around for a bit. This is an enemy type that will become common, but for now, you will need to get killed by this guy so you can awake in the Hunter's Dream. The Hunter's Dream is the main hub where you can rest, repair weapons, level up, travel to different parts of the game through headstones, imbue your weapons with Carol runes, and purchase consumables. Central Yharnam is the first place that you're going to be venturing into when you get your first weapon, when you get really acquainted with what the movesets of the character are, kind of exploring around for a little bit. That's the first area that you are going to be going to. So now that you know where to go in the beginning, I'm not telling you where to go for every section. You'll need to find those secrets out yourself. Actually, we're going to be discussing all of the consumables. First up is the antidote, and this removes poison. These can be found on corpses throughout Yharnam. They're dropped by crows, and you can also get these by the messengers in the Hunter's Dream. The Beast Blood Pellet. Now, the Beast Blood Pellet is a rare drop from werewolves. It's a rare drop from crows in the DLC. It's also a purchasable item through the messengers once you obtain the Cosmic Eye Watcher badge. Next up, the Blood Dreg. Now, you can consume this to get 1 insight, and you obtain these by killing other NPCs and players. One thing I did forget to mention, actually, this is something that's mentioned in the Fextra Life Consumables Bloodborne page, of where you need to have equipped the Corruption Carol rune in order for any of this to happen. Blood of Adela. Now, this restores HP and gradually restores HP over time. Next up, the Blood of Ariana. Now, this restores HP and temporarily boosts stamina recovery. This is given by Ariana at the Cathedral Ward Blood Vial, which is going to be one of, if not the most important thing you use throughout the entire game. This restores your HP when consumed and is found on bodies throughout Yharnam. It's found literally throughout the entire game. Blue Elixir. This makes the user nearly invisible while not moving. Trust me, you will need this. This is going to be sold by the Bath Messenger within the Hunter's Dream, and you are going to also find this as a dropped consumable by the Scythe Priests. Bolt Hunter's Mark. When you are in a tight spot and you cannot have like a way out, or you do not see a way out, you will need this. This allows you to reawaken at a lamp without losing your blood echoes. So if you have, I don't know, over 500,000 blood echoes that you stored away, and you really are finding yourself in a difficult spot that you need to get out of, use it. It'll be good. Bolt Paper, one of the best things to use whenever you're in a boss battle. This temporarily adds 80 bolt damage to your right-hand weapon. Now, this is going to be sold by the Bath Messengers for 1 insight or 14,000 blood echoes. So the blood echoes will increase in their price for certain objects as you continue on through the game. Bone Marrow Ash. This increases the Quicksilver bullet damage on your firearm. This can also be used on a flame sprayer or a Rosemarinus. This is the same person who thought Placidusax was Placido. Oh, how many times I have to say I thought the X was silent. Now, this can be used with a flame sprayer or a Rosemarinus. Cold Blood Dew. I always like the name of this consumable. I don't know why. It just sounds so poetic. This can be consumed to acquire more blood echoes. Now, 1 Cold Blood Dew is 350 blood echoes. 2 Cold Blood Dew is 500, and 3 is 1,000. You're going to see the number in the menu whenever you go to see Cold Blood Dew. You'll see like a number between parentheses there. That'll signify how much it is. Delayed Molotov. This is a Molotov cocktail that explodes on a time delay. Delayed Rope Molotov. This is a Molotov that is thrown backwards and explodes on a delay. This is also sold by the lower Bath Messengers after receiving the Firing Hammer badge. Fire Paper. This is good, but in my opinion, this might be a hot take. I don't think it's as good as the Bolt Paper. Fire Paper is good though. Fire Paper is definitely good against a lot of enemies, but Bolt Paper I think does a lot more damage. The Fire Paper temporarily adds 80 fire damage to the right-hand weapon. Now, you can find this consumable throughout the game, throughout defeating different enemies, when you go into Chalice dungeons, all that kind of stuff. And they're also sold by the Bath Messengers as well. Frenzied Cold Blood. Now, this Frenzied Cold Blood allows you to gain way more blood echoes. Frenzied Cold Blood 7 2,000. Frenzy Cold Blood 8 is 3,000 and 9 is 5,000. Gold Pendant. You can consume this to get a blood gem. This is dropped by Vicar Amelia. Great One's Wisdom. I love the design of this consumable. It looks absolutely beautiful. Consume this and you get 2 insight. Now, insight is used whenever you want to go into co-op with someone. You need insight even if you want to co-op with NPCs in the game. Great One Cold Blood. You consume this and you get a huge amount of blood echoes, up to 40,000. This is found in some 4 to 5 level dungeons. The Hand Lantern. This is sold by the Bath Messengers and you unlock by obtaining the Sword Hunter badge. Losefka's Blood Vial. Consume this and you gain a large amount of HP back. Now, when you return to the first sick room after you visited the Hunter's Dream, you'll have this long dialogue back and forth with Losefka. Exhaust the dialogue and you will get the Blood Vial. Kin Cold Blood. I like how it says on Fextra Life, used to gain unspeakable blood echoes. Just, I love it. The wording is just chef's kiss. Kin Cold Blood 11, 10,000, and King Cold Blood 12, 20,000. Lead Elixir. Now, I never really used a lot of the Lead Elixir. This allows for incoming blows to bounce off, dealing reduced damage. And you can find this in numerous locations within the Nightmare Realms. Madman's Knowledge. You can consume this to gain 1 insight. A lot of the Madman's Knowledge, a lot of people would say there is a lot, but if you go through a lot of co-op within the game, a lot of these can be used up in co-op really quickly if you guys play co-op a lot of the time, so please use these with care. Quicksilver Bullets. I'll be talking about these in another section that's coming up, but these are going to be very important if you are going to learn how to parry. This is consumed in the use of firearms and hunter's tools. Red Jeweled Brooch. You can use this to gain a droplet blood gem. And blood gems, like I said before, are upgradable items that you can use on your weapons. Sedative. This removes frenzy and beasthood buildup. Shaman Bone Blade. This one I absolutely love because it turns an enemy hostile to its fellows. So let's say there's a wolf that's on your tail, you throw this at him and he turns around and attacks everyone who's attacking you. It's amazing. I love it. Shining Coins. Now this is just a shining coin that you can place down if you want to visit another place and you don't want to forget where it is. The way that I personally use the shining coins is, let's say there's a place that I really want to visit and because a lot of the areas kind of look similar when you get to a certain point in the game. You can place a shining coin down there. When you come back there, you'll be able to tell the difference between one chest and another chest that looks completely the same to that one chest that you need to go to. 1/3 of umbilical cord. Now there are 4 of these to collect if you want the absolute true ending, but other than that, these give you 3 insight. The areas that you can collect these from are Margot's Wet Nurse, which is one of the final bosses of the game, inside the altar of the abandoned old workshop. After the blood moon has risen, Ariana will move to another place in the cathedral ward and she will have something that resembles a fetus beside her. It gets kind of gruesome. You have to kill it in order to get the umbilical cord. And the last one can only be obtained after you fought off Rom the Vacuous Spider. You have to go back to where Losefka was to fight off the imposter Losefka. Tearstone. You can consume this to get a Tearstone blood gem. Vermin. You can crush this to increase your rank in the League. Now the League is a covenant and it focuses mainly on co-op play. Also, I completely forgot to mention, but Shaman Bone Blades are also dropped by the Brain Suckers. So if you come across those things, kill them. You can actually like farm quite a bit of Shaman Bone Blades. Now one thing that I did not see in the list that was in Fextra Life was the Numbing Mist. Numbing Mist you can use for Vicar Amelia and it'll stop her from healing herself when you get to her second phase. Because she has this moveset of where she will go into like a praise position and she will start to heal herself after the damage that you have caused her. So to prevent her from healing herself, you can utilize Numbing Mist on her. If there are any consumables that you guys think that I missed or I overlooked, please let me know down in the comments below. So now that you know all about the consumables, let's dive into the weapons so you know where to start if you're not sure which is a good starter weapon. While it's a smart idea to level up multiple weapons, focus on having one main good weapon that you level up during the beginning of the game. Now, just to add, I'm not going to be going into every single weapon that you can get in this game. I want to leave some things for surprise, just a little bit, but I am going to be going over the starter weapons that you can get. By way of starting weapons, we have the Saw Cleaver, the Hunter's Axe, the Threaded Cane, and the Hunter Pistol. Now the Saw Cleaver outputs more damage than the Threaded Cane, and this is great for if you're fighting off more beast type characters. Now this weapon is the most middle ground of all 3 that you are going to be getting besides the Hunter's Pistol, and I'll explain that later. It has fast attacking speeds, improved health gain when recovering lost health. It can still be used in one hand whenever you're attacking because it has one mode which is just going hacking and slashing back and forth, and then you have another mode whenever it's out fully extended. ended. Now, when I began in Bloodborne, the Hunter's Axe was my starting weapon. This is one of the longer reaching weapons because when it goes from its shorter range to its longer range, because the longer range of this weapon, it is unbelievable. So much more damage than the threaded cane or the saw cleaver. But on the negative side, it's very slow to strike. I do like, however, that it does stagger enemies. So if you're going and sneaking up on an enemy from behind and you are going in for a stagger, it will stagger it very easily. Now, just keep in mind, when the axe is in its transformed state, you cannot use an offhand weapon. So you cannot use, for example, the pistol while it's in its transformed state. And out of the three, the threaded cane is the least damaging weapon of them all. It doesn't output nearly as much damage as the saw cleaver or the axe. Now, when it comes to the pistol, the reason why I needed to leave this one for later is because you are mainly going to be using the pistol to parry enemies. Shoot the enemy to parry and then utilize your weapon to perform the visceral attack. Now that you guys know the starting weapons that you have as your choices, let's go into ailments. I'm going to be discussing the status effect types that could happen to your character within the game. Now, the status effects could be a result of one of three things. Either A, you got attacked by an enemy that inflicted their status onto you. You applied a certain blood gem to your weapon and now it has a status effect. Or you used a consumable that has a status effect. Now, first off, you have the body changes. This icon will appear when you use a blue elixir or a lead elixir. This one will appear when your HP gradually depletes or equipped a cursed blood gem with this effect. This one will appear when the HP continues to recover or boost stamina regain. This will pop up when you have the eye equipped or the milkweed care ruined. Then you have different ailments. This one is gradual loss of HP through poisoning. This one is rapid poisoning. Please watch out for the rapid poisoning, okay? This one has fricked me over so many times. This one is frenzy. This is instant HP loss, 70%. This one is for oil. It increases the fire damage that you take. Let's go into the attack statuses. This one's going to pop up when you have your attack up. This one means that your attack is down. This one means that your attack is up, full, or near death. This other attack one is for beasthood. A longer gauge will strengthen your attacks, but it will reduce your defense, so just keep an eye out on that. So this one is just storage. This one just signifies that when this pops up, some of your items went to storage if you bought too many of them. So let's say you got 40 blood vials that can only hold 20. The 20 others will go to storage. There are multiple online statuses. So this one is the beckoning bell. This is to call in for players, or you can summon NPCs. You cannot call upon NPCs or other players in a specific area.
Oh, hi. Post-production me here. I don't know how I forgot to talk about the co-op downscale. I don't know. For some reason, I'm sifting through the footage. I'm like, why am I not discussing the downscale? So I'm just going to mention it briefly here, and then I will return you back to past me. The cooperator downscale is this weird thing. I don't like it at all whatsoever. It's one of my negatives, actually, of Bloodborne. It almost makes summoning someone, anyone, it doesn't matter what their level is, and it makes summoning someone almost useless, to the fact of where, like, let's say you have someone at a level 250, it might downgrade their leveling to like an 80 or something. So it's kind of it's shitty, honestly. I don't know why they do it in the game. I don't know what it is about the downscaling that is even appealing. Maybe it's because they're trying to do like a leveling out. That way the person, if they're a lower level, they're trying to get someone to that same level. I don't know. But yeah, returning back to previous Ariel.
This is a small resident bell. This is to get summoned by other players. And this is a small residence bell blocked. If this pops up, you just can't get summoned by anybody in a particular area. This pops up when you're about to invade someone. And this one when you cannot invade someone. And then lastly, you have the added buffs. You have fire, bolt, arcane, and blood. These are all added buffs that can be utilized. Okay, the next thing I want to go into is something that it kind of was one of the main things that I wrote in to this intentionally because I knew I needed to talk about it. I knew that I needed this to be a part of the guide because it was a must. I mean, I learned it whenever I saw different walkthroughs for Bloodborne back in the day, and I thought, oh, okay, I will need to know how to do this when I play Bloodborne eventually. The next thing I want to go into is parrying. Please, I implore you, I beg of you, learn how to parry. If you take anything away from this tutorial, anything away from this video is that I taught you how to parry. I have another video where I taught you guys to parry. I think I have 2 other videos where I taught you guys to parry. They will be here as cards. Long story short, if you want to know how to parry, watch for the hands about to slap you. No, but in all seriousness, when they're about to get in prime position for you to parry them, you will see the hand raise. When it's just a little bit above the head, that's when you aim and you take fire. Learning to parry is a tough thing, but it's also very necessary, and it's so rewarding whenever you get the gist of it. I feel like learning to parry really clicked for me when I faced off against Lady Maria. Lady Maria is probably one of the most satisfying bosses to parry alongside Orphan of Kos. Now, even though I have 2 other videos for you guys on how to parry, basically what you have to do is when you are seeing the character about to raise their arm a little bit, slightly, not just over their head, that's when you take aim and you use your hunter's pistol. If you know how to parry, the fight against Lady Maria, trivialized. Absolute, just it, easy peasy lemon squeeze me. Yes, everything respawns when you die, you better get used to it. If this is the first time you are diving into a Souls-like game, you better get used to the fact that everything will respawn. It is the nature of these games. They have it in the Souls games, in Demon Souls, Elden Ring, everything. Always seek out and open shortcuts. You will thank me later. Multiplayer is one of the core features that make this game absolutely incredible and a joy to go through. Bloodborne, I think, is probably one of the best Souls-likes to have multiplayer in it. The bosses are incredible, and they're made even more fun when co-oping with someone who, quite frankly, you don't even know. It's really fun to go in with your friends and beat a boss, but when you have a stranger go in out of the kindness of their heart and help you out with a boss, nothing feels better. So let's go into some of the things that I didn't like about the game. And yes, I love Bloodborne. It's one of my favorite games, if not my favorite game. But there are things that I do have to criticize about the way it's done in certain aspects. I wanted to make this video balanced. I wanted to show both the good, the bad, and the what were they thinking. Do I love this game? Yes, absolutely. But there are things that I think should be fixed. Do I think they're going to get fixed? No, this game is almost 10 years old. Why would From Software fix everything unless they're deciding to do a remaster? So first off, the armor can't be upgraded. Choosing what armor best suits your character, you need to see the stats of the armor that best suit what your build is, even if it doesn't look good. The lamps, which are Bloodborne's checkpoints, take you directly to the Hunter's Dream instead of automatically resetting the world. At first when I played this, I didn't have an issue with it, but as I played other Souls games, I was like, okay, it's kind of strange. You can't just rest at the lamp. You have to go directly back to the Hunter's Dream every single time. Now, this last one that I'm about to mention will vary with player experience. But when you go into a chalice dungeon and let's say you beat a boss, and afterwards the boss drops something and you can't pick it up because you are at maximum capacity of storage. You can't just sit at the lamp and then go back and collect the item. It'll take you back to the Hunter's Dream, and when you try to go back there, that item is gone. That's actually something that happened to me a few weeks ago when I was going through a chalice dungeon. I beat a boss. I was like, yay, this is awesome. Let me go see what it drops so I can collect it. I couldn't grab it. I thought to myself, okay, let me go back to the Hunter's Dream and go grab it. When I went to try to grab it, it was gone entirely, and that was a first. So before I end off today's video, I want to share a little story with you guys as to why Bloodborne has impacted me the way that it has. And I'm also going to have 2 of my friends discuss why Bloodborne means what it does to them. So as I went into the Old Hunters DLC, it was one of the most interesting moments of where I found myself in a bit of a conundrum. I feel like, okay, I got better at this game. I am getting good. I'm progressing. I'm doing better, but I still don't feel confident in myself. Time went on. I beat a lot of the bosses in there, and I got up to Orphan of Kos. I immediately went for the summon sign, and I thought, okay, let me try to summon in just anyone, an NPC if there is, or someone else who is also playing at this part of the game. At first, me and my friend Jude went through it, and he wasn't at the same part that I was, and they don't have crossplay where you can just roam throughout the game with your co-op buddy. You have to be in the same area that they are, if I'm correct on that. After finding that out, I thought, okay, let me try summoning a random NPC at this point. There was this one lovely person that came in to help, and we went at Orphan of Kos. I lost count, maybe at least 50 times. If not, that's what it felt like. It was absolutely incredible to see, like, this person was standing back a little bit to let me take on most of the boss and to show me different movesets that I then was able to learn from. And after many more tries, I thought, okay, let's take a break, let's reconvene tomorrow, and let's try this again. This boss almost took me as long as Ishin's Sword Saint to fight. It almost took me a week to accomplish. And at a certain point, I felt like I was getting the moves down. I thought that, okay, maybe I can do this on my own. But I felt like I was almost offending the other co-op player, that I didn't want to play with them anymore, that I just wanted to do it on my own. So I told him, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to try to do this on my own. If I need your help at all, I'll be sure to summon you. He He was really chill about it, and he said, yeah, I'll leave my summon sign down in the evenings if you want a co-op and you want any help or anything like that. I got you. And I tried, and I did so many different revisions to the way I was fighting Orphan of Cause. And then in the end, I think it was like a Thursday or a Friday that I ended up finally beating him. But I have so many different recordings of me going at the boss, so many different clothing changes. I got the boss on my own, and me and that person celebrated over text, going at it back and forth. This is why I love Bloodborne so much. And it's not just because of the community, but there are certain points in the game where you find your inner strength. And because community is such a staple in these games, not just this game, but all of the other Souls and Souls-likes, I want to bring in two of my friends to discuss what Bloodborne means to them. Big shout out to Smoughtown and Oroboro for joining this video.
I love Bloodborne because it complements my extremely aggressive playstyle. In all the Souls games, I like to just R1, 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 and dodge every attack. Parry some stuff as well. In Bloodborne, that's all you can do. You know, there's no turtling up behind a shield. You got to play aggressively, and not only do you have to play aggressively, you get rewarded for playing aggressively. So it just meshes extremely well with my playstyle. The game was made for me. My number one tip for new players is level up your vitality. You want to level it up to 30 or 50. Ideally 50, but when you're starting out, get it to minimum needs to be 30. You'll thank me later. Enemies do so much damage, and having that little bit of health really makes a big difference. I freaking love Bloodborne.
Bloodborne is unique even among its soul-like brethren. The atmosphere, the gameplay, it all feels really fresh. For me personally, what is the most interesting element of Bloodborne, aside from the lore, is the Chalice Dungeon system, and it's this system that I wish From Software would include in new games. Some people don't like the Chalice Dungeons, but I'm a massive fan. When you get to the late game, you can generate your own procedurally generated ones, and it feels like you're exploring something new every time. Additionally, you can share your Chalice Dungeon glyph with other players, and this was a really fun part back in the day when people were discovering new and weird things in these dungeons that were procedurally generated, and we'd share our dungeons with one another. So my advice for a new player would be to explore the dungeons in between doing the main story, as doing them all in one go at the end can feel a bit tiring, but if you spread them out, you can get the full enjoyment from this excellent system.